99% of you lose in division and never make it to division 1, not because you're a terrible player, not because your squad is not overpowered or highly rated, but because you have chosen the players in the squad very inaccurately and very, very poorly. Today a fan reached out to me and sent me a message on Instagram basically saying, here's my squad, what do you think I should do differently, and just help me out, because he recognized that he's not getting the wins that he wants in division. So I figured, instead of just telling him what to do, I should make this a learning moment for every other person. So I'm making a video breaking down his squad while telling you all what he should do differently. Basically telling him what he should do differently as well. Telling you guys what he should do differently. So perhaps he is going to be able to improve and get more wins in division because of my take on his squad and perhaps his play style. If you want me to review your squad in a video as well, just reach out to me on Instagram. You have to be subscribed to the YouTube. You have to be following me on Instagram for that to happen. Without further ado, let's get right into this breakdown. So he's using the 4-3-1-2 formation. This is actually a very, very decent formation. Using quick counter, which is personally my favorite playstyle, my favorite team playstyle in the game, quick counter, and he's using Xabi Alonso for his manager. So as you can see, his team is not a poor team. It's not a free to play team, right? He has a very, very good looking team and perhaps really good players as well, but he has just selected them inaccurately, right? So we're going to go through them player by player and we'll see what he can do differently so he can get more win. The moment he sent me his squad and I looked at his squad, analyzing it by myself, I already knew that he was not in Division 1, nor was he in Division 2. So I asked him, are you in Division 3? And he told me, yes, I was in Division 3. It was just so obvious. So depending on your squad, when I see a Div 1 squad, it's not about the amount of overpowered players you can pack inside. It's about the way they are arranged and the players that have been selected that will tell you that, okay, this is a high level player or this is an average Division 4, 5, 3 player, right? So this guy obviously wants to be able to get into Division 2 and perhaps into Division 1. I don't think he's a terrible player. Perhaps with the tactics I'll be able to give him at the inside, maybe he's going to achieve more progress in division matches. So first things first, with the manager Xabi Alonso, one thing that I've noticed about this manager is that while he's very, very good offensively, because it's quick counter as well, defensively his players is the fullback, right? The back four, they tend to be out of position when you lose the ball. So if you're playing against someone else that's playing quick counter, there is a tendency for you to get countered on and your center backs will not be in their position. It can happen a lot with this Xabi Alonso. But using a formation like 4-3-2-1, there is a way you can mitigate the level at which you concede those quick counter goals. So we're going to go through that now. Xabi Alonso is not a terrible player. He's not a terrible manager. If you actually know how to use him very well, you score a lot of goals. All right. So first is first. He's using Casillas in goal. Not a bad goalkeeper, actually a very good goalkeeper. But here's my own take on it. Whenever you're using an offensive goalkeeper, you're just prone to errors. The goalkeeper is just prone to errors. I don't know if the game did that on purpose, but they just tend to come out of position when they should not and leave the goal open sometimes. They tend to make clearance that they should not make, clearance that they would likely just make to your opponent, leading to you conceding. Generally, defensive goalkeepers are just better. They just make better save. And these defensive goalkeepers, I've noticed, only come out when they are very, very certain they will win the ball. When they are very certain to win the ball, that's when they come out. Offensive goalkeeper, if the ball is there, whether they will get to it before the striker is like a loose ball, whether they'll get to it before the striker, they are going to charge at the ball. So it can be detrimental. Of course, you can win a lot of matches by defending and your goalkeepers winning those kind of 50-50s, but then you can also consider a lot of unwanted goals, right? So if my own suggestion for the goal, I don't think Casillas is a bad take, but if he has a defensive goalkeeper that's just as good as Casillas, I would say you should go with that. Using Cafu at right back is not a terrible pick for this formation. It's actually a very, very good pick for this formation. Offensive, is an offensive fullback. Obviously, this formation is a narrow formation, so you don't really have the option of wingers. You don't really have your left mid, your right mid. You don't really have your left wingers, your right wingers. So, allowing one of your fullback to overlap to give you that extra width on the pitch, right, is actually a very good idea. So, I support the pick of Cafu right there. Right, so Beckenbauer, I think, is a build-up centre back, and it's actually a very, very good build-up centre back. So I support that pick, the pick of Beckenbauer as well. Tony Adams is a destroyer. Tony Adams is also another really good. I think those Beckenbauer and Tony Adams, I think they are free cards that Konami given. They are really good free cards that Konami. In fact, this Costa Curta as well, right? So, in my opinion, his back four is actually very, very solid. His back four is very, very solid. If he has, I think the only thing I don't even think there's anything I would change. Depending on his players, I don't know if he has any other better player in bench, but with what I've seen with the back four now, he's actually solid. So, we go to the midfield. Now, Casemiro, I think that Casemiro is an anchor man, right? If he's not an anchor man, he needs to get an anchor man there. Listen, guys, if you're using one defensive midfield, right, in your formation, that defensive midfielder has to be an anchor man. There is no two ways about it. You cannot use a box to box. You cannot use an orchestrator. You cannot use a destroyer. Destroyer is better than the other two, but I would still suggest that if you're going to be using one defensive midfielder, you use an anchor man. Why? Because an anchor man stays in that defensive midfield position. He doesn't drift forward, right? So he's always there behind. And an anchor man tends to cover the entire width of the pitch, both left and right. So generally, I think this Casemiro is a good pick for defensive midfield position. Now we come to Beckham. I don't know the play style of that Beckham, but I don't really think that matters for that position. I think any play style would actually do whole player, creative playmaker, maybe an orchestrator would actually do for that position, because we have Costa Curta just behind him. So Costa Curta is going to be holding that area down, so he can drift forward and come back. It doesn't really matter as long as Costa Curta is not going forward, right? Then we'll come to his left center mid, which is Rijkaard, and this particular Rijkaard is an orchestrator, and it's not something that I would it's not something I would approve of, right? This particular Rijkaard, because he's an orchestrator, is going to be going forward a lot. You already have Cafu going forward, and now you're going to have Rijkaard going forward as well. The whole of this area is just going to be open. Now, if the person is playing a formation like 4-1-4-1, right, his left mid, right, his left mid and his left AMF will utilize that space a lot. They're going to open you up a lot. So instead of using an orchestrator in that position, I would suggest that you use a box to box. Why am I saying a box to box? Because a box to box would cover the whole width, or the whole length of the pitch. Is going to go forward, and when he loses the ball, he'll start running back as well. So that's very, very important, because you don't have the liberty of your fullback being there all the time. Your fullback is going to overlap. So your fullback is overlapping. When you lose the ball, you need your box to box to run and join the defense as well, right? So we have Bale in the attacking mid position. I think Bale is a creative playmaker. This Bale is actually very good. I have no problem with it at all. Creative playmaker. I think that's actually good. Perhaps I would suggest that if he has a whole player generally are better for attacking mid position. If he has a whole player, play a whole player there, because the whole player would get into space. We would tend to, when you're doing 1-2 with your strikers and your AMF, he would tend to go forward, and then sometimes he will stay back, but Hope players tend to score more goals. They help you out a lot more than creative playmakers. Creative playmakers, they usually just try to make very incisive pass. Although it's not bad, creative playmaker in that position is good. Mbappe goal poacher is always a very good option, and he has played him on the left as well, which is something that I recommend. And this particular Messi card is a deep line forward, which means he's going to be dropping back just a little bit to receive the pass for good 1-2. So I'm not against that as well, but I would suggest if he has another goal poacher, he should use 2 goal poacher up forward, and perhaps use either a whole player or bring this deep flying forward Messi to the attacking mid position, either a whole player or a deep flying forward in the attacking mid position. That way Messi will draw back and enter position from time to time instead of just being in one place, and the 2 goal poachers can always be inside the box so that you can always have the option to square play, right? So that is the best thing in my opinion. Other than that, I think it's quite solid. I think his setup is actually not bad, but I feel like if this guy changes this couple of things, right? I've not seen how he plays, I've not seen his play style yet, but I feel like if he changes this couple things, he's probably going to get more wins. Of course, it doesn't just depend on your squad. Like, it's not that once you have a good squad, you're going to win all the games, no. Or once you've selected your squad correctly, you're going to win all the games, no. You have to know how to play the game as well. But I think with the squad that he has gone with, if he tweaks a little bit of things, somebody that is in Division 1, Division 3, he can possibly get into Division 2. It will definitely help him win more matches. It will help him be more solid at the back. Then something else I would recommend as well, if you don't have a good box-to-box to replace that Rijkaard, if you've not given Rijkaard all the skill, try and see if you can give Rijkaard track back, because that track back would make Rijkaard come back when they lose the ball. So that's also quite important as well. Now, one thing I would also suggest to you guys, if you scroll down on my page, you will see a video that I made a couple of months ago. The top 5 skills to give your players to help you win more games. That video is very, 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 very important for you to actually win more games. If you give your players those skills, you would see that they will do things that you would not even expect, right? It would help you move on from whatever division you're stuck in to the next phase. That's it for the content today. All right. I'll attend to whatever questions and comments you have. Just drop them down below. Do well to share the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.